Ooh, chills every time I hear that. All right, how we doing? Neci, hey, I look who back. The prodigal co-host is back. She has returned.
Hello.
Mm-hmm. So you were out of the country. You went over there in the desert to negotiate about Trump's plane. How'd that go?
Who?
You went to talk to them Saudi billionaires to see about the plane?
What plane?
Trump's jet, Air Force One, the people's plane.
Why would I speak on his behalf?
How was your trip, man?
It was good. I had a good time. Flying is another story, but I'm back. I'm here.
Mm-hmm. Glad to have you back. Last week? No, week before last. You seen Darren had took your place. It was a great show.
He can't take my place, but he was
covered
here
for you. How about that? Can I say that? Okay. It was good. It was a good show. He wore glasses in honor of you and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him wear glasses.
Wow.
But that also proves my point that people that need glasses the most don't wear them. But I digress.
You see, I always have mine. So.
Yeah, and then we see the wall. We see, there.
Of course he is.
Yeah, hey, thanks for coming through. Make sure you share the live, man. We got a great show. You know how we get down over here. Look who else there. Jassy Clark in the building. Thanks for coming through,
superstar.
Hey, the gal that sugar me, son. You see that video where my boy Sweet talking shit? Watch lyrics. Watch lyrics. Okay, he gonna put that in a song now.
Ray Kruger, man, in a video.
Hey, big up Jassy Clark and big up Team Factorize and everybody involved in that Stand series. I be so proud when I watch that thing. Like, I be cheesing from ear to ear because it's like a VI, St. Croix, like real deal, well produced, got banging soundtrack, everything. I'd be so proud, man. I'm really happy for you guys, and we really need to get that fully taken care of, fully funded. They do have donations. They take donations. We need to get that fully funded, man. Because ain't no reason I could think of why the government shouldn't be funding a soap opera. You know what I mean? Like,
the government, never mind.
Yeah. Well, I could think of a reason. They always broke. But facts though, we need to get that funded. All right, go check out Sand under Team Factorize on YouTube. All right, if you're just joining us, you're tuning in to another live broadcast, live stream of A Different Day with Jah and
Neci is back.
She's back, guys, and hopefully we could keep her for at least another 2 weeks before she take another trip again.
Ain't my fault. My same difference benefits amazing. It's not my fault.
Well, we might need to cut some because you can't stay home. Neci's the new Carmen San Diego. She stayed tripping. That's one thing we could say. But we got a great show for you. If this is your first time tuning in to A Different Day, we cover multiple topics: local, national news, trending topics, even take requests. And we have a great show. We're gonna jump right into it. But first, how was your weekend going, Neci?
Tired. Trying to catch up.
Jet lag?
But I'm doing good.
Okay. I've been working like crazy. I know people think I don't work because they see how much content Same Difference puts out, but I actually have a full-time job. I'm tired.
We do.
Hey, happy Mother's Day, because we weren't on because of the holiday. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Happy Mother's Day to you as well. I know I told you, but still. All right, let's get into the good news.
Okay.
In a remarkable showcase of talent and determination, 13 athletes from the St. Croix Track Club competed in the Association of Youth Junior Athletics Championships Finals on May 10th, 2025, delivering a record-setting performance that earned them a total of 13 medals, 5 gold, 4 silver, and 4 bronze. They were doing it.
That
This
is
year
good.
marked, what you said?
I said that is amazing.
13-year record setting. Hey,
Woo.
we got talent in them.
Mm-hmm.
This year marked the largest contingent of qualifiers from the St. Croix Track Club to ever compete at the AAJI Championships, ranging in age from 14 to 22. The athletes faced off against fierce regional competition in Ponce, Puerto Rico, and rose to the occasion with personal bests, dramatic finishes, and exceptional displays of athleticism. Leading the St. Croix delegation was Sophia Prasad, who delivered a pair of commanding performances. She clinched gold in the 400-meter hurdles with a time of 68.61 seconds, and showing impressive endurance, won gold in the 800-meter just 45 minutes later with a time of 2:26.83 in the 14-15 age group. Hey, big up, Sophia. Big up, big up. That's great. Setting records, killing it. Also turning heads was Javante Hurst, who displayed both speed and determination. In a stunning comeback, Hurst surged from 4th place to 1st. In the final 90 meters of the 200-meter sprint, he'll conserve his energy. It's fine. Clocking a time of 23.35 seconds to earn gold. Although his time beat the current record of 24.57 seconds, it will not be recognized due to an illegal wind speed. What? I don't even. What am I reading right now? Due to an illegal wind speed of plus 2.8 milliseconds. Okay. Hurst also claimed silver in the 400 meter. Dang, silver too. With a time of 53.66 seconds, rounding out a stellar showing in the 14-15 division. Congratulations, Javante. Congratulations. In the field events, Isaiah Benjamin delivered a gold-winning performance in the high jump, clearing 1.80 meters in the 16-17 age group. His battle for the top spot came down to the wire, highlighting his competitive results. Faith Eatman also stood out on the track, taking home gold in the 400 meter and silver in the 200 meter in the 14-15 age group. Other strong performances came from Amina Prasad. The Prasads were killing it, who earned bronze in the 200 meter in the 14-15 age group. Jordan Vaughn, who secured silver in shot put and bronze in javelin in the over 19 division. Jaquan Creek, who won silver in the 100 meter and bronze in the 200 meter in the 16-17 division. Wilfredo Concepcion, who earned bronze in javelin and placed 6th in shot put in the 18-19 category. Kalan Beaupierre, who finished 4th in javelin and 8th in shot put in the same age group. Emmanuel McIntosh, who came 6th in the 100 meter in the 14-15 age group. Jalea George, who placed 7th in shot put in the 18-19 division. Charlize Gomez, who came 7th in the 200 meter and 8th in the 100 meter in the 14-15 age group. And lastly, Sarai Morris, who placed 7th in the 400 meter in the 16-17 category. Man, hey, big up to them, son. Virgin Islands put numbers on the board. I love to hear about it.
Congratulations. That's amazing. That is amazing.
That's great. Hey, let me ask you something. Why do you think we don't hear about these things more? You know what I'm saying? What do you think that is? We don't, like, I'm not there to watch local television, so I could be wrong. Do these things like get spotlighted down there, or how would you find out about it?
You know, I don't watch local television either. I don't have local television, unfortunately.
True.
So I can't say that it's not being played on the news. And of course, you know, we only have one actual newspaper now versus the two. So most of it is probably being done socially, which is the new norm anyway. Mm-hmm. So I think, you know, it's probably been done that way for a number of reasons. I would hope that it is being broadcasted on the local stations, including the radios and so on and so forth. And it's up to us, the coaches, parents, and so forth of these organizations to make sure we're getting this information to the press and to the media to spotlight our kids. So hopefully they are doing it. I'm not saying that they're not. I'm just saying in general, we need to make sure we're doing that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can't say we hope they are, because these children need the encouragement. They need to see that we're proud of them and other children coming up need to know that they could do this too, or even beat their records. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to see it. All right. On to more news. We got one more news thing, and then we're going to get into a trending topic that was popping this past week and a half, I would say. All right. Virgin Islanders were still trying to make sense of new package delivery processes Thursday that has caused widespread and vexing delays over what often amounts to pocket change. Delicate prom dresses, clunky auto parts, vital medicines, high-tech gadgets, everything shipped by expedited services like DHL, FedEx, and UPS has been backlogged as the territory works out a way to deal with changes in federal rules gumming up the previously fluid system. I didn't know it was fluid before. Senator Angel Bolquez laid the blame Thursday squarely on President Donald Trump's tariffs on international imports and his removal of the de minimis rule that exempted packages worth less than $800. This is not just a shipping issue. It's a disruption that is affecting the daily lives and livelihoods of our people and the businesses they rely on. Bolquez, who represents St. John, said in a written statement, "Vital medical supplies are spoiling, small businesses are at risk of financial loss, and the residents of St. John are left in the dark." Well, you know, WAPA get all the islands left in the dark. Previously, St. Jonians could clear cargo shipments through the local customs office, Bolquez said. New procedures enacted without advance public notice require all customs clearance and payments be processed at the Customs and Border Protection Office on St. Thomas. Mind you, so they're in St. John, everything is processed in St. Thomas. This change imposes additional burdens on St. John residents, many of whom must now incur transportation costs, take time off work, or arrange for third-party couriers to retrieve vital goods and supplies, he said. Jen Robinson, owner of the Coral Bay Mail Service Connections East, said a steady stream of steamed customers have reported recent woes, traversing to St. Thomas and back, navigating unfamiliar forms and regulations, all for the sake of a few dollars in tax. One of those customers was satellite link equipment installer Sloop James. "I need a $45 part from Starlink. Starlink only ships DHL. So the excise tax on that $45 part is 6%. So we're talking about under $3 roughly," James said. "I live on St. John, and it's a 4-hour round trip for me to go over to Crown Bay and deal with all of that for $3. A customs employee told James DHL, FedEx, and UPS were all backed up. Anything that comes from overseas to the United States is subject to duties. Be that the new tariffs or old. Because the U.S. Virgin Islands is outside the U.S. customs zone, the territory can charge an excise tax on items meant for commercial use. A doorknob for your home would not be taxed unless you rented your home out." Hey. Oof. Having to travel to St. Thomas from St. John just to pay $3 and get a package? Sheesh, that's wild. What do you think about that, Neci?
Well, we knew it was going to happen, and it's been already happening, and it's like they pulled the plug with no real plan. So it's just like they said, it's a scrabble to figure out what the process is and how to impose the process. And it's unfortunately a headache for everyone, including myself. I've had packages. I mean, the problem was with USPS initially, but DHL and stuff was primarily fine. But now they're the ones that are being backlogged too, because they can't release those shipments based on how the system is now set up to people without getting these things done. And it's a process. I feel for them. I feel for my community, and it's gonna be a long road. That's all I can say.
Yeah, because the USPS was already a big issue and waiting weeks. Some people waited months to get their packages. Now with the other expedited delivery, now that's a problem. That's wild.
And then that's the key. You're paying for expedited, but you're not getting the packages here, but you can't get it expeditedly. So it's like you're paying for a service that you really can't get. And it's not the shipper's fault because it's here. It just has to go through the new process, which is causing a backlog to clear. for you to get your stuff. And that is, man, it's gonna be rough. It's done rough already. It's gonna be rough.
Yeah, it seemed like things getting rougher. Like, dang, like, is there ever relief in the works? So the girls' wigs getting hold up by customs. Nasty work. Hear this one.
Yeah.
From worse to worser.
Correct.
And I don't even know where to start, but some need to give. Like, okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you and everybody out there. If you had to start somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you had to start somewhere to like fix the problems with the Virgin Islands, where would you start? What would be the first thing you go after? If you had like, if you were the governor,
mm-hmm.
where would you start? What about you? What do you think?
Well, the one thing that always has piqued my interest is the maintenance. I would go after maintenance. I would pool our maintenance services because maintenance on the island is a huge problem. For example, WAPA just announced that it's asking residents to help with the cutback of vegetation on their property line by power lines because they can't keep up with the overgrowing of the vegetation with all the rain to keep the lines cleared in case of a storm or power, whatever. So we all know that, it's growing on the power lines, it's growing on the poles. Sometimes a storm comes, just one tug of a line or something could pull out a wire. We lose power for X amount of time, whatever. So they're asking us to help to keep our properties cleared and our lines cut. Not the power lines itself, but our vegetation's low so we don't have that excess growth. Because they can't keep up. They don't have enough certified people to help maintain the territory.
So maintenance overall, like this would be for just maintenance
of, like right now, schools are out. Like we should be pooling all the maintenance we have. Right. There should have already been a plan in place, contractors procured to go in these schools all summer and do basic upkeeps that will make major improvements when schools go back. Sometimes we have bigger things that we can't fix in a summer, but some of the other, like fixing tiles and fixing sinks and making sure there's running water and replacing toilets, seat cup, like those things should just be done annually in place in all the schools. And we shouldn't be rushing at the last minute. Oh, the grass ain't cut, the school ain't paved. That should not be happening. Now, I want to say we need a division of maintenance. I don't want to say we need a new division where all the maintenance people are pooled and the requisitions are coming in for the departments, what needs to be done, and then they're sent out every day to do that. Because that's my thought about it. But that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be done that way. But I feel like maintenance has always been an issue with the territory between maintaining the streets, the lights, the signage on the road for tourists to know where they're going or where they're headed. The schools, even the offices are keeping them maintained with proper phones and lighting and forms, and it's just a lot. So I think maintenance is a big issue. We spend millions of dollars launching new buildings and projects every year. What is the plan to maintain and upkeep them for the longevity? That's the plan, is to maintain them. That's how you keep those things functional. And I don't see that as a thing.
Enrique says he would, if he was a Darren said, "Am I going to mash up Neci flow of new glasses?" I don't know. As far as maintenance, Enrique is saying the schools is where he would start, and parents need to be involved. For me, I think that the entire community needs to be involved. Like everybody that is able to move should pick something that they really care about and get involved with that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you go with children, you need to be dealing with the schools and helping out in some way, shape, or form. Because yes, I agree that the parents need to be involved with the school, but when it comes to that, it seems like we don't take ownership. Like we don't take ownership as far as like, no, they're supposed to be doing this, that, and the third. If it ain't getting done, the community needs to step up because it's our community overall. And that's just how I feel about it.
Mhm.
Darren says government needs to go from being reactive to being preventative and take
Yes.
initiative. I
Mhm.
think we don't pass that then. Like now
But
it's
we
time.
have to though. We have to be
Yeah,
preventative, so because you spend more money reactively than you do preventative. Like it's just factual. Because you need an emergency done now. Whatever my emergency fee is, you're gonna have to pay because you're in an emergency. Based on having your regular maintenance being done effectively and on schedule, and making sure that people are being held accountable for those things. Like that has to be a number one priority. Like, my thing is like, hey, the hurricanes was what, 6, 7, 8 years ago, 2017, we're in 2025. Most of schools were closed before then. Most schools closed since then. We're only rebuilding one school since that whole thing happened. We've closed 5 schools and rebuilding one. Five, four or five? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't even know.
Yeah, there's because Elena's closed, right? Evelyn Williams is closed. Arthur is closed. Not Henderson. What's the one by Aradias, John?
Charles H. That's
Charles H.
yeah.
That one is, and Henderson is closed. Yeah, 5 schools have been closed between the last 10 years, and we're only in the process of rebuilding one. And while that one is going to be kindergarten to eighth grade to cover both, Eulalie and Arthur, it's going to be the Arthur Richards School. It's what's going to be called. It's going to cover through eighth grade. It still doesn't fix the fact that there's so many others that close at the same time. These things are not being closed because it's closed for maintenance. It's closed for being prioritized and having the tools and the necessary equipment and the proper staffing, and maintenance is a huge problem in the territory.
Because now we're working behind the 8 ball because now we haven't maintained anything. You gotta create stuff and you gotta fix like at the same time, but then it's where to start first.
Mhm.
Enrique says we need to stop using weed whackers and use actual tractors, a backhoe and stuff. Is that what you mean? Is that what you're talking about? Tractors
I've
and
seen them
backhoes?
using actual tractors to cut the grass and stuff. I mean, I guess it depends on where he's seeing that, but I've seen them use it.
Also compile and actually use data to drive decisions and make good decisions after the data is
Good
compiled.
decision, yeah, effective decisions.
Yeah. They're gonna give us a discount if we take care of the cleanup near the lines or not. Man,
No, but what they're trying to say is, and I appreciate that they're letting us know that they're doing it. They're out there. They don't have enough people to maintain everything, so they're asking people who can to just cut back your vegetation where you can, because we know the last time we had a storm, we didn't even have a hurricane. We had a storm. We lost power for like 4 days. Most of that was because the same reason they're saying now. The vegetation grows on the power lines and it pulled out a lot of the power lines. And putting those lines back are not a simple thing. So while I don't agree per se, but it's still like you said, it's our community. We have to have ownership of it if we want us to be successful. I don't want to not have power for 4 or 5 days for a simple storm because this vegetation growing on a vegetation from my property that's growing across into something else. I will try my best to maintain my property as we should be maintaining our properties anyway.
and shout out to the WAPA personnel because majority of the people there, they don't make these decisions. You know what I'm saying? Most of them are just cogs in the wheel. So we need to understand that too. It's the bigger heads that you most likely will not see that are making these decisions that negatively or possibly positively affect us. So let's keep that in mind. So shout out to the WAPA workers too.
But what I want to just say is that they have to have, the WAPA personnel has to have a specific training to go out and do these vegetation cutbacks on the line. It's a specific training they have to do. So it's not that you could just pull like a regular lineman off the truck and just tell him go cut. It's not like that. There's a process in place, not from us, but just based on, I forget what the standard is, that they have to have these people trained a specific way, a specific training in order for them to do it. So it's not just that. So I just want to make that clear. It's not like they can't just have anybody out there doing certain things. And you don't want them to either.
No, I think I'm doing it right. Darren says use summer employment and focus on school maintenance. I think that's a great idea.
They used to do that years ago, and I don't know why they don't do it now. Like, put all those kids to work in those schools under qualified contractors to get painting and just, you have your C-Tech students as well who's out for the summer, who's doing electrical and who's doing this and that. Put them to work as well. Like, that's what you're training them to do. If you want them to stay and you want them to be, taxpayers in the community, you have to start embedding them in the community.
And it really don't need to be no all day thing so the children them lose their entire summer, 4 to 5, 6 hours, you know what I'm saying? Like, that would make a huge difference. Would give students a greater appreciation of schools and be more inclined to protect it instead of mashing it up. That's a fact, because if you're the one cleaning and you've seen what it takes to maintain it, I guarantee you'd be more, inclined to protect it from getting damaged or frig up again. There's a lot of private businesses that are willing to help. Let's give them some kind of tax break because they can do it for them. BS, what is education situation? What is BS EDC situation? What are we talking about?
The EDC. He's probably talking about the EDC benefits. Probably.
Another problem is the government isn't paying the contractors for their work. Look at the current state of trash disposal in neighborhoods. Yeah, they ain't paying no vendors for it. They haven't been paying like a lot of vendors. Mm-hmm. Many other roads can use conventional lawnmowers also. I usually cut from Glen Shanty all the way to SN. Wow, SND feature up in about an hour. Yet takes the weed washer crew 2 days for the same area. Yo, hey, big up yourself, man, because you getting out and you're really doing work for real in your community and taking charge and taking ownership. We need more of that. That's what. No, I agree, Keita. It would be nice if there was some incentives, but I think ultimately the reward would be your community improvement. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's how you got to look at it, man. All right. Thanks for all that feedback and all that engagement. We appreciate it. Now,
before you move on, what area would you focus on? I asked you, but you didn't say.
Off top, I would focus on the hospital. Me, like, that would be my number one thing, only because lives are literally at stake. I would start there and work my way down.
But does the hospital fall under the purview of the government?
The VI government? It seems so. Because it seems so the way
I don't think so necessarily. Because they have a board and it's like I don't think so. Because between WAPA and the hospital, I think there's the word I want to use, but I know that we are involved. I don't think it's managed under the purview of the government directly. I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
A long time ago, the road work and maintaining the lawn was done by Public Works. Hospital is semi-autonomous. Yeah, I thought so. I thought it was under some type of vibe, like how WAPA is part government, part private, part whatever.
Yeah, thank you, Darren. That's the word I was looking for. I was like, I know it's
So either that there or WAPA, because WAPA is like a major issue. That's a major issue, and we know that there is partially private sector. It's also partially government, and I don't even know if the governor is on the board anymore. Or did they change that or what? But that they need to fix first, because electricity leads to everything else, and then the dirty water situation, was that fixed?
Well, as far as I understand, there's a complete overhaul for the dirty water situation. I know they've been doing it and they're working on it. A lot of it has to do with old age piping. Those pipes have been in the ground before we were born. Those pipes have been running under the ground. So the corrosion of those pipes are what's causing the dirty water, and they've been working to replace them and stuff. I haven't seen as many complaints as I used to do previously, but I don't want to speak out of turn and say that it doesn't exist anymore. But hopefully, because I'm not seeing that much complaints, means that there's been an improvement. I'm hoping.
Enrique said they're replacing the pipes now, so they're in the process. That's good news or something, because them kind of thing, they're detrimental to people's health.
Mm-hmm. But what I don't like though, Ja, I just want to say like they're digging up that road that they just open up from the port to trailer park, right? One side of that road closed, right?
No, I did
You
not
know they
know
just
that.
come. Might even open it for the bridge because the bridge was
Yeah,
already
yeah, yeah.
yeah. You
Man,
know one side, yeah, because they're digging it up, right?
I did not know that. Who's digging it up? Who digging it up? Which utility?
Don't know. I don't know what they're running, his piping or whatever they're running there. But my thing is, why are we digging it up after we don't reopen it?
Yeah.
This is my problem. Where's all the long-term outlook projects that are being requested to get these things done simultaneously? And then my third problem would be that bridge that they built there was temporary to begin with anyway. So they're going to close it back at some point later anyways. You know what? You're ruining my vacation high and I'm not here for this.
How? Oh, this is what we do.
I'm not here for this.
This is what we do. Benton is doing it for WAPA. Yeah, WAPA is a major issue. Like, scratch what I say about the hospital. It'd be WAPA first. I think it's underground lines for WAPA. Oh, man. All right, moving on. Hey. So, speaking of, so sad we ain't coming home. Thank you for giving me that segue because that's what we're about to jump in. This week, former Senator Nellie O'Reilly made a post, and it had on VI Facebook going crazy, going bananas. Seeing it on TikTok, everybody in the VI was talking about it. There was an article in VI Consortium, and all type of people talking about it. So, former Senator Nellie O'Reilly says, "Virgin Islanders living abroad, please come back home. We need you. We can do this." Now, I have grown to like the fact that we're at the end or the beginning of the week, depending on how you look at it, because it gives me time to see what everybody else say, process, digest what people talking about, and then come with my thing. Because I didn't want to do no show on it before. No, I wanted to see what people had to say first.
I didn't even see it at all.
Well, because you were tripping. You were overseas. You were riding camels, and that's what the thing should have been done a long time, man. You know what I mean? You know how much stuff that could apply to. You know how much stuff that could apply to home. It should have been done already. But now, so I'm living abroad. You living home, right? So you didn't see this? Wait, you didn't hear about this at all?
Yeah, I am so behind on social media. Literally, it's not a joke.
Okay. So, well, this is your first time seeing it. Let's talk about it. You live home. I live abroad. Nellie O'Reilly is saying we should come home. They need us. What are your thoughts when you see something like that?
To me, that was kind of loaded. Like, come home to do what? Like, what is it in reference to? Is there no more context to it? It was just that. That's it. That gets people to come home.
That's exactly what she said. Like, that's exactly what she said, just so. And then it provoked a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, the conversation got very intense. Majority of the responses were negative. Like, even in the consortium article, I think it said about 75% were, to the why would I?
Right. But and it's a fair question. Yes, I would absolutely love our Virgin Islanders to come back home and to be the face and the forefront of our community and to be the ones leading us into the next segue generation of success and improvement in the territory. But what are they coming to do? What are we asking them to come and be involved in? Are we making space for them? Are you guys going to move aside to allow them to come in and to do these things? And just saying you want them to come why? Like we just talked about, WAPA is a problem. WAPA has always been a problem. WAPA been a problem since I was a child. I now have children that are adults. My children can have children. Like, what are we talking about? The hospital is in dire state. People don't want to, why would I want to come somewhere where I have to risk my health, my safety to be somewhere? Now, I'm not saying that to deter anyone. because there's always a positive and a flip side, because I live home. So I'm not trying to be like, there's not any positive sides for me being home. But again, it's also a matter of what the priority is for a person. You want me to come home to do what? What are we doing? What is the avenues that we're opening for them to be in? Is it competitive? Is it inclusive? Is it, progressing? And sometimes we come and sometimes we're here and we're not even progressing because some of the older people are fighting to keep certain things that no longer exist. The Taxi Association is one of those things that doesn't work for us anymore. It needs to be revamped. We don't want to revamp it. Why? But then we can't get anyone to come out after 9 p.m. to take us anywhere. But you want tourists to come. Like, what are we coming and asking them to do? We need to be more specific with what we want, even if it's a broad topic, but be more specific. And then how are they going to do it? There should have been some bullet points after that. I think she should have dropped some ABCDs under that post in terms of what they can come to do, what areas they're lacking and they need people to focus on. That would have been a great opportunity to create the picture that you want people to see.
That was very well said. So hey, you still got it. You still got it. The Sunday not nothing out. I like that. But for me, living abroad, right, I totally 100% agree with you. And I think that was the overarching thing that people were saying, like, what you want me to come back to? When there's a program or something going on, like Ghana, for instance. Ghana is trying to they have that comeback initiative to get members of the African diaspora to come back. But they're offering things. Mm-hmm. So if the Virgin Islands is in a dire state, you telling me to leave my good up AC, to leave my good up electric, if my electricity go for 15 minutes, I vex. To come to where the power gone all the time and I might get a surprise $1,000 electricity bill when my being gone for hours and days at a time. And that's just one of the issues. And then like there was I don't want to say a negative response, right? There was some negative responses, but most of it was just critiquing the situation and why people do not want to do it. Because there's a difference. There's a difference between talking down on home and all of that. I was saying like, these are the reasons why I can't. Why? Because listen, I don't know of too many people who are from the Virgin Islands that have left that haven't at least considered moving back in. At some point, we usually consider that. And then when you assess the situation, it's like, I have medical issues. What happened if something goes wrong? I need to go to the doctor. Dying stable. I didn't even get ambulance service for real. You know what I'm saying? People taking care of sick elders already, and they move and they sending money home to take care of people home or to help out. But you're telling them to come back in order to do what? There's no incentive. And then even if you are saying we need you, we got work to do. The foundation needs to be getting laid. We need to see you doing something actively to say, yeah, let me join this movement. Because in order to make substantive changes, there needs to be that's a big word for Elmo.
Take your time, work through it.
That's a big word for Elmo. But there needs to be significant impact, significant changes going on to where you would require more than one person at a time. It would be a movement of people to come home in droves and say, we're going to do this work. We need to see something. And that wasn't a part of what you were talking about. Diane says we need think tanks and for people in power to be receptive to new info and to operate outside of their agenda. That in itself is an issue. People in place and in positions of power that don't even want new innovative ideas. So you want people who have seen and experienced and live abroad in a certain way to come home, which you're in a different headspace when you come home. You want certain things. You're thinking about certain things as far as technology and all of that stuff. To come home in order to be told what? I don't like that idea. No, we're doing it this way, it's fine. This is the way we always been doing it. That in itself is keeping us back. In order to fix our home, it's either us or them. So yes, there's a lot going on, but to build better, sacrifices must be made. I 100% agree. That's not even something I would debate. Like, you need to make sacrifices, but who's making the sacrifices now? Hey, greetings, Michael. What good? What good? Make sure you share the live, guys. Share the live. They want us to come back and do the work they don't want to do to hold up antiquated systems and dilapidated infrastructure. Ooh. 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 All right. You have to be a little insane to live and stay in the VI, if we're being honest. Neci, you agree with that assessment? You're a little insane?
I mean, I wouldn't say a little insane, but I think, like, because
Okay, now, Yoshi.
I love home. I 1,000% hands down, crucian to the bone, love home. I love that there's so many things that I can look forward to positively every day. So many things that makes living home work for me. But I can't pretend that there might be a situation that changes my output on, okay, I love home, but I need to make a change because of whatever my reason is. Because people aren't just leaving for no particular reason. So we can't, like, we could love home, but let's not distort the fact that facts are facts and the reality of what's happening is the reality, right? So we love home, but there are real things that are impacting people in a real way that they can't afford to just stay here and live. It might not even be WAPA. It might, like you said, people have medical issues. We might not have enough of the specific medical stuff that a person might need for their health or their family's health or their loved ones' health, that they have to go away to get help for whatever those medical long-term needs are. You know, I know people that have to fly constantly for medical reasons, to get whatever they need to get checked and done and follow up with their doctors and so on and so forth. It's not easy jumping on a plane to go anywhere, especially from St. Croix, where we don't have that many flights like St. Thomas. It's expensive to fly from St. Croix to go Miami versus if you have to travel from St. Thomas. There's a big difference in the cost. Huge. So, you know, those things are real factors that play in people's mind that they have to weigh and consider. For me, my life just worked out in a way that I happened to stay. At the time, my priority was my kids and having a structural family support to be able to raise my kids. I knew I couldn't have that in the States. It's very different in the States. And I could just be like, hey, I could just pick up the phone and be like, hey, Jah, I'm in a meeting to work. I can't get out. Can you go by the school and pick up the kids? Like, we can't do that in the States. Like, they have to be on the list and approved. And there's a whole, you know, shing-bang of things that goes in place. And then there's also things that happen here that I never had to worry about. Like, if my kids was walking somewhere, if they're going to be kidnapped. And those are not big things that happen here in our territory as well. So there's a lot of things that people can't consider when deciding to stay or to leave, but it doesn't change the fact that they love home. Exactly. That is what the one thing I don't like people questioning is people's love for their home. You can love home and not live there. Right. But you want me to come back for what? To do what? And I think it's a good question. It just needed to, I think that the miss was listing out specifically what we want them to come back to do, what areas they can come back to help in, where they can jump in, even if they're not moving back home, where they can jump in from where they are and participate in helping to progress the territory. That's the miss in the question for me that I think we could definitely look at.
And Senator O'Reilly, she's a friend of the show, love her to death. I think she's one of the realest ones because when you ask her something, she ain't got no notes. She just answering and she telling you what she said and what she said. She means that. So I don't want it to be construed or misconstrued as us being opposing or for or against or any of that. Like, it's just I would have liked to see, like you said, and I think a lot of us would have liked to see some whys. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some questions that need answers when you say something like that. Juan says, if the governor, the senators don't care and love these U.S. Virgin Islands, why come home? We should love it still now. We should love it. Yoshi, in reply to Darren, saying you have to be a little insane to live and stay in the VI. She said, but he ain't living and staying. I guess he talking about himself too.
We know that, we know Darren's mental state. We don't have to, we know he a little bit.
The worst part is that the ones in power is indoctrinating the ones who are young and allowed to be in the mix. They will perpetuate the same broken systems that keep us suppressed. Are they even reaching out to the younger ones? Because that's one of the complaints of the younger folks. They don't listen to their suggestions or anything. Well, I guess it's survival of the fittest. I will always find a way to adapt. What doesn't kill me will only make me stronger. I'm sorry, but I understand what some people are saying, but me ain't going anywhere. I'm here for the long haul. And that's beautiful. Great. We're not against that, Like Neci is home and she loves home and she's staying. We ain't saying that you should stay or you should come home or whatever. Like we need to realize, right? Everyone's experience is not the same.
No.
There are people who like have family members with land and stuff that they could come home to and stuff like that. Some of us don't even have a support system if we were to come home. It'd just be you, like sink or swim. And to ask somebody in that position to move and it's sink or swim, that someone in that position can hear you asking me to come home and do what? To possibly like fail and not offer no lifeline, no lifesaver for me at all. You know what I'm saying? So we need to understand that if you want to stay, that's awesome. Stay and, do your thing and you love home and that's great. But there's also reasons why people aren't. We just need to respect each other's experiences and personal opinions. That's all. Agreed on that, Neci. I was paying $1,800 a month in 2014 for childcare, mommy. That was my reason. Because she has a support system.
Yeah.
That's important,
That's it. And look at that, $1,800 a month in childcare. That's its own mortgage in its own self. You could and then some. And so it's like, while I don't want to undermine, like, I live here, I'm staying home, I love home. I would never say like I will never move away. My intention as of right now isn't to. I can't predict my future circumstances and how my life will change if I need to, if I don't, right? But I also want to point out people who moved away, they can move away and still be struggling too. Moving away doesn't mean that they're not struggling or that they're living a lavish life. Right. They have a reason why they've had to move. Some people just need a change of scenery. Some people have lived enough bad experiences in one place where they feel like maybe a change of scenery might be what they need to fix their mental state. Like there's so many reasons why a person can move and leave, and I don't want us to not look at the positive on both sides and the negative on both sides. There's people who live away that wish they had an opportunity to come home, but when we're asking them to come, we have to be a little bit more clear. Or we have to be giving them some type of segue or opportunities or literature that they can, whatever that may be, for them to be able to look at, read, touch, connect with, join meetings, whatever that may be, so that they can see what that opportunity is for them to want to come.
If you're just joining us, we're talking about Senator O'Reilly's statement that she made last week. Virgin Islanders living abroad, please come back home. We need you. We can do this. That's what we're talking about right now. During the conversation, Darren says, I'm saying we have to endure a lot of crazy stuff to stay in the VI. So when I say we might be a little insane, it's not to insult anyone, including myself. It's just that it takes a lot to endure all of the issues.
Agreed. Darren, we absolutely understand what you're saying, because like you said, the WAPA situation, no one should want to live in a place where the power can go at any moment without cause or reason. No one wants to know that if they're going to the hospital, they can't get service and have to be airlifted for basic surgical procedures. Like, those are not the things you want to factor in when you have to make a life and death decision, or even a minute decision. It doesn't have to be life or death. It's just like, hey, I don't feel well. Where's the emergency services that you can walk into besides the hospital. There's usually like, little emergency clinics here and there. We don't even have those up and running that you can walk into for basic emergency needs that you don't want to go to the hospital for. Like, there's a lot that is going on. And I think that, while there is improvement happening, while there are positive things that are happening, is it enough for people to want to come back home in drones? No. But can we make the opportunities? We can't. It's going to take a lot, and it's going to take a collective of us, and for it to happen. It's going to take some of us getting out of our own ways for it to happen. And we need to have more clear structural requests in terms of when we're saying come to do what?
And you know what? With her asking that there, right? I don't believe a petition like that to come home would even be necessary if people would see that there is work being done to pave a way to make it easier to live home. You get what I'm saying? Like, nobody would have to ask if things started improving. You get what I'm saying? So like, that would be the best billboard. Not just asking, but doing and showing this is what's going on. Hey, you could come on and help us too, so we can make this place great. Like, hey, big up people like Taj James and stuff who really get out in the community and be making change and putting in the work for real. Big up people like Enrique Schuster who go out and do it. Because, and you know what? When you do those things, you need to show it too. So the thing about influencers, right? Influencers aren't necessarily bad. You can influence someone negatively or positively, and a lot of the times you need to be showing them photos, and so you can influence people to get on board with it. There's nothing wrong with that. Ain't that you're looking for attention or validation? We need people to see. People are visual. We need people to see what's going on, and that would be way better than any word of mouth these days. I want the best for everyone and for us to not struggle and endure, but to thrive and prosper. Amen.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Plenty land up here. Where can you go and buy 4 acres of land for $4,000 in the U.S. Virgin Islands without having to jump through a bunch of hoops? And how would you know about where it is? Some come to the States here and do the same thing as did in the islands. That's a no-no. Too much to do up here to sit down. Bitcoin's making millionaires every day. I ain't never invested in me, I like it. And then Miss O'Reilly had a second statement. So she made another post. We know the reasons why, this is after all the negative comments. We know the reasons why it is challenging to live in the USVI. Please join me in sharing the reasons why the USVI are worth fighting for. You see, this kind of make me think, like, I don't think anybody believes that the U.S. Virgin Islands are not worth fighting for. I don't think that's what people are saying.
That's not the issue, no.
Even if they commented, like, for what? You know what I'm saying? They ain't saying that there's no reason to come home. Like, oh, man. Hey, so there were several responses. Like I said, VI Consortium made an article and said about 75% of them were negative. Here's one that I thought was extremely funny. I did, and this blank is whooping my blank. What's the next step?
Fair question. What is the next step?
That's the question that people really are wanting answered. After we come home, then what? What are we going to do? Is there a plan in place? Is there a group of us? Is there organizations, associations? What do we need to do? So instead of saying like, is the Virgin Islands worth fighting for? Who's leading the fight? And where do I sign up? I think is the questions that's being asked. There was this response. It's that time of year when the Virgin Islands sends its annual Hey Big Head text to those of us who made it out of the toxic relationship. But we didn't leave because we stopped loving home. We left because it stopped loving us back. And we got tired of surviving on vibes and nostalgia. While the VI claims to cherish the children of its soil, we were raised on survival, not love. The youth that excel are rewarded with a crumbling infrastructure and decaying buildings, and the rest are left to fall through the cracks of a system that doesn't make room for neurodivergence, emotional needs, or academic difference. But to its credit, our home of steel pan melodies and mango-stained memories built us unshakable faith. Deeper than the potholes that line the streets and stronger than the blue FEMA tarps, still clinging to rooftops like trauma we haven't unpacked. Because if nothing else, you will pray. You'll pray that the check from the job where you're underpaid is enough to buy overpriced, outdated groceries. You'll pray that you time your shower between Whopper's mood swings so you don't show up to that same job smelling like boiled fish and fungi. You'll pray that this is the year you get your tax return from 3 years ago. You'll pray that merit and qualifications will finally mean more than bloodline or brunch crew. But like any other toxic love, you either stay and accept it, or you learn to love from a distance with boundaries, self-respect, and a quiet sense of freedom. We will forever carry the salt air in our lungs and the yellow eagle on our backs, but don't mistake our silence for amnesia. We left because we knew better, and now we do better. Although I disagree with portions of it, the overarching message, I agree with, and I think it was well said.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't agree with everything 100%, but I do understand why she worded it that way as well.
Yes. So that was one of the best responses that I had seen. Of course, there's more, but that was one of the better ones that caught my eye because it was so well laid out. And the comparison to a toxic relationship, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it fits, it tracks. I ain't gonna lie to you. No place in the world is perfect, including our home, but we as a people have some hand in where we stand today. The amount of money is poured into this territory. We belong way ahead. How will we steer the ship back to prosperity is a burning question. One thing I will not indulge in tearing down where I'm born, because America is no bed of roses. How will we fix it? And that's the question that we keep coming back to. Mm-hmm. How do we fix it? Like, what comes next? After we come home, what are we doing? There needs to be something in action. So we're not trying to tear down the place. And mind you, some of the complaints that people living abroad have, if not all of the complaints, are the same complaints that people living home have. So, I mean, if you're going to complain about it, right? You can't complain, and then when someone, hey, who feels it knows it, you know. You can't be talking, but like, it don't work, sudden, man. Like, it's the same complaints. We agree with you. We want to know how. How can we fix it together? What can we do next? Hey, and this source is from Cane Cutters. I love their content. Check out Cane Cutters, Cuttaz. The food and groceries. Prices for groceries are significantly higher in the VIA. For example, a gallon of milk costs about $10.07, and a loaf of bread is around $5.31. The price for regular gasoline averages $3.99 on St. Croix and $4.79 on St. Thomas. The average monthly net salary is about approximately $3,387.22, which is 21.7% lower than the U.S. On average, rent in the U.S. Virgin Islands is 22.3% higher than in the United States. Now, all of these things are things that you have to consider because cost of living is going up in the States also. You know what I mean? But the thing is, cost of living and the job market is another thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to get a really good job if you're going to afford living in the Virgin Islands. Unless you have family or you have a place that you can live within your means and still make it. One of the scariest things for me is hearing them people's stories about getting $1,000 Whopper bills. Me gonna lie to you.
About getting what?
$1,000 Whopper bills. That there, I don't know what I would do. My blood pressure don't high. So I don't know. That there is one of the most scariest things I think of. Like you paying 100, 200 and you cool and then you get 1,000 and man, we know that. Has that happened to you?
$1,000 bill? No, never.
Okay. That's good. So it isn't everybody. It's not an everybody thing. That's good to know. But tell us how you feel about that. I've been back 5 months, and all I want to do is fix it. We can't choose incompetence to lead us. We're the employers. Fire them when they don't produce. Too much corruption and incompetence has murdered our territory. Not voting or voting with emotions will kill us every time. Fortunately, a lot of people vote for friends. And that's another thing in a small community that you have to watch out for, because your friend may not be the best fit. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that's a real thing. So let me ask you directly, my favor. Let me ask you directly, because we were asking, and I think you just joined. If you were the governor, which issue would you fix first? Where would you start? Like, to fix the Virgin Islands, where would you start? If you had the power, you were the governor, and you said, hey, we're gonna start here and go from there. Where would you start? We have these issues because I'm gonna say, let's start a fireball. Let's start a fireball, and we all are going to be in agreement, but only two are we going to show up. That's a part of it too. Because when them man were protesting for WAPA, it was only like 2 or 3 people out there. People we were asking, hey, can I at least drop off some water to these men? They're outside in the heat. Healthcare and education. Too much people losing their lives. True. I think those are good places to start. It's either healthcare, education, or WAPA. Part of the problem is I think that people don't understand the role of senator, commissioner, and lieutenant and governor are. But that's another education failing. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
What happened to civics classes and stuff like that? There's a lot of people that don't even know what the 3 branches of government are.
And I think to Darren's point about they don't know the difference is that it's not necessarily that they also don't know. It's also that usually how the structure is set up after senators, there's other tiers. And we don't have the other tiers under the senator. You don't have like your mayors and your for the districts. You don't have those people that you can report to when you have issues. So it all falls back on the last tier, which is your senators. And I do think while they try to appease the community when things happen, despite it's not being their job, because they also understand that affects them when it comes to voter turnouts if they don't participate in these things. So it's really a yin-yang situation when it comes to that, because if we don't fix the tier process, we won't really get, we're just going to keep doing this dance every year and every election cycle.
And that's a good point, because a lot of people don't understand that the way that the VI government is set up, it's definitely structured a lot different from like a US government course. So there needs to be like VI government civics and then US government civics. Like all of these things, there really should be workshops. There should be little workshops being given to people to educate them on these things. And if I was running for senator, I would have been holding these kind of workshops. You know what I'm saying? Like educating people on how this thing works is important. So even if you don't get in, they at least know this is what it takes. Don't call me because you need a tree cut. Like we shouldn't be calling senators for stuff like that. Hovensa have been idle for years. WAPA could have used the power from Hovensa to power St. Croix. If you ain't producing, you gotta go. And bringing in vibrant minds who are willing and able. All these commissioners, etc., producing nothing. We need to let the lieutenant governor run for office on their own tickets. We starting with the children, stop the cycle, get the proper education they need, get them trades and get them jobs after the trade. You gotta fix the schools. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you start with fixing, like Neci said, with the maintenance part of it, or do you start with the curriculum? Those are things, cause you know they can't do both. Oh boy. Another thing, what KPIs, hey, break that down for me, please. What KPIs are government agencies being judged by? How do we know they are being productive if they're not being measured? I'm sure they have the numbers though. They have to be, somebody have to be tracking them numbers, the data, right? They report to people still, don't they? They just don't give it to us. All right. You got any other points you want to touch on before I move on?
I just want to say, for those of you who are debating to come home, are coming home, who already home, I know it's hard. We all know the struggles. We all understand what's happening. We all see the issue, but we have to be more present. We got to be more involved. We got to be more hands-on. Sometimes we can't wait to be invited in. We have to create the spaces that we need. So it's not easy. No change is ever easy in the history of the world. But I mean, we get some talented people from the Virgin Islands. We see it all the time when they're doing things big across the world. We cheer and we cheer for them. We need to do the same for ourselves and our community at home. And it's up to us to make it better if we wanted to. It's going to take a lot, but it's not impossible to make changes.
Facts. You know, she says maybe Albert needs to be on the show. That man wouldn't take my
show?
That man wouldn't take my call.
I'm like pineapple tart. Can't be on.
That man wouldn't take the call. They would never answer the call. And if so, they would have blockers for the questions. And then they'd want us to submit the questions in advance. And
but that's what any public figure, that happens with any public figure.
Nellie didn't ask for that.
But they want the question.
She came on and she did the show raw. So what happened?
She's not a current public figure though.
True. We could give him some questions, but it's like I feel like there's too many obstacles to get through to get a real answer. You know what I'm saying? Like, will it be something that is worthwhile for the people watching if you're not answering straight? You know what I mean? All right, we'd love to have him. Ain't gonna be no bashing, no battering, none of that. We'd love to have him on. All right, so the next topic we're going to is the big thing that
this was the big one. Oh my god!
This was the big one for home. This is the big one for the States, really. All right, so Cassie and the Diddler. We're gonna talk about Cassie and the Diddler real quick. Hey, I started out when I seen a post asking, "Is Cassie a victim?" I went and I did what the Me Too movement people were saying. Believe all women, you know. She got me out here looking like a fool. I don't like it. But I'm gonna show you why.
Ventura and Combs are seeing one another in person since their 2018 split. Federal prosecutors claim Combs used lies, drugs, threats, and violence to coerce his ex-girlfriend into sexual encounters with male prostitutes. Ventura said the alleged sexual encounters typically lasted between 36 to 72 hours, the longest one lasting 4 days. Ventura is currently married and pregnant with her third child. She told the jury today about how the hip-hop mogul controlled her life and their relationship, describing the alleged physical abuse, saying, quote, "He would bash my head, knock me over, drag me, kick me, stomp me in the head when I was down."
Whew. Man. So the Diddy trial is going on, and as you can see, Cassie has been through a lot. We already know she had that settlement. She asked for 30 million. She received 20 million. Now I'm assuming, I think it's the state that's prosecuting him for sex trafficking charges. Now, I was all team Cassie, and I was trying to believe all women. But at this point now, I can't tell if Cassie is like the plaintiff or the co-defendant. This girl be saying some stuff on the stand, right? That be having me like, girl, hush. What are you saying? Like, I do believe that she's a victim, but now because of the stuff that she said and testified, it's like now people are asking if she's an accomplice. Just from her testimony, it's gotten so bad. For instance, Cassie was asked, do you hate Diddy, or do you still love him? Ventura says she doesn't hate Combs now. I have love for the past. The defense attorney, Ana Estavo, asked if Cassie Ventura hated Sean Diddy Combs now. I don't hate him, Ventura testified. Do you still have love for him? Estavo asked. I have love for the past and what it was, Ventura said. Girl, what are you talking? Ain't that what the case is about? Ain't that why he's being prosecuted for the past and what it was? What are you saying? Have you heard about this case?
I've heard. I've been paying attention. But I've been paying attention, but it's been everywhere, so you have no, I mean, you get to see it. Yeah.
Isn't it a federal case? Yeah, it's a federal sex trafficking case. You didn't really try to, but I'm so disappointed. She lying. Like, I don't know if she lying. She telling the truth on stand. She's telling the truth.
I don't think that she's lying. I think that unless you're in a position where you've been a victim of mental and emotional abuse, the physical abuse is one thing, but that mental manipulation that happens and emotional manipulation, that stays with you long after you're out of the situation. And from some of her things that she has said, I can tell that she still has a lot that she's need to deal with and work on. She has been working on it, and it's a lot. And some of her answers do contradict what is being said, and people are always the first ones to say, "Oh, why she didn't leave?" Listen, there's such a thing as Stockholm syndrome. Okay, when you manipulate, break someone's mental state, that you have control of them without having to be around them. It's like when people kidnap children and the children no longer run away after a certain age, because I could send that child to the store to buy milk and I know that child will come back despite that child was taken. Like, that child has already been broken in mentally, that they won't leave. And it's not they don't consider the fact to even leave. It's not even a thought anymore, because they've already been indoctrinated into whatever the process of routine is, that they're no longer a threat to have to leave. And I think that for her, it's very clear that was very real for her. She was there for 10 years. A lot happened during that 10 years. Some of it, yes, she participated in willingly as maybe her way of showing her love and her devotion to him, or whatever that may be. But that doesn't undermine the fact that she was a victim. Like, that video alone says she is a victim. You know, and for people to then be like, oh, she's like, that's unfair to her, because whatever her reason is initially for coming in, whether she left her, because people are like, oh, well, she deserved it because she left her boyfriend at the time to be with him. I'm like, yeah, half of y'all cheating on your current girlfriends anyway. Like, what are you talking about? What's she doing? But, you know, like, that's not a reason for somebody to be treated that way because that happened. Like, it's, when people don't live experiences, they always have the best outlooks on what should happen and what you should do and how you should do it and when you should do it. And that is not the case. Some of y'all need to look at yourselves and be like, y'all still living back from when you was in teenage years and kind of mature and grow from then. And to be blaming her is crazy to me. But it is a lot of contradictory stuff she's gonna say. She's going to speak from her point of view, what she believes is true or not. Whether it was true or not, that's her viewpoint on it. The attorneys are there to decipher what she's being said as truthful or not. These attorneys are there to defend him on what she's saying in terms of supporting his case or to unravel the case completely. And that's what both teams are there to do. So she's just one of the many witnesses they're going to call to throw off the case. Another example of the case is the security guard at the time where that incident happened with the video, that is now a police officer, where he talked about how he's up to integrity and crossing T's and dotting I's and whatever. And they're like, when you wrote the incident report for that thing, you never mentioned some of the things that happened in the video. So where's all the integrity that you have for the law and order that you said that you've always had in you? Like, are we saying that he doesn't mean that now, or he didn't mean it then? You see what I mean about like contradictory things?
Yeah.
That's gonna come up. And then he recorded the video and sent the video to his girlfriend at the time, who had the video of the situation. Like it's like, you know, they're breaking out all of these things. And even like he said, like, oh, he went to the room and he opened the door and he saw a guy sitting on the bed. And then the defense is like, you went to Didi's room and saw a man sitting on the bed from the door. You think like Didi buying a regular twin bedroom? Didi probably has a suite. You can't see the bed from the freaking door because he's buying the room downstairs. He's buying the suite upstairs. You know what I mean? You have to have been in the room to see the man. You couldn't have seen him from the door, and he started to like, And that's the kind of things that happens on trial that can, the simplest little thing that you think was true, or you're trying to enhance a story to make it sound believable or the credibility, it could just, in an instance. But I don't think it's fair to say she's not a victim. Yeah. I just think that she's going to say things that we're going to not agree with, and it's going to definitely make us look at her sideways. But it doesn't change the fact that she's a victim to me.
Now, the reason why I wouldn't say that she's not a victim is because of this definition right here. I would never say that she's not a victim. Stockholm Syndrome is a psychological phenomenon. This is what Neci had mentioned, where hostages or victims develop sympathetic feelings and positive attitudes towards their captors, sometimes identifying with them to an extent that they adopt similar beliefs. And if you've noticed, they're still classified as hostages or victims, right? So keep that in mind. It doesn't make you less of a victim. And if that video didn't prove that she was, I don't know what will. You get what I'm saying? Like, she was in the act of leaving. Right there. We have proof of seeing her trying to leave and what happened. You check? And then that thing with the security guard too, he came. The security guard came. She told him, I want to leave. And he's like, you could leave when but he didn't like call the police. He didn't do none of that stuff. He seen that this man beat her up. He seen the video. He had it.
And he didn't put it in his report that he had to write. He did a lot of things that happened that he did not include in his incident report.
So there, right there, shows you the power that Diddy has. You get what I'm saying? Like, he had the information. You're a security guard. You have the proof. You have the evidence. It's on camera. And then he destroyed hotel property too. But hey, and then the thing is, right? It's a lot of women that are saying, hey, she should have left. And that's wild to me. Like, you never left June. You know what I'm saying? Like, hush. June been banging you till you end up on VI Consortium, but you telling Cassie she should have leave the billionaire? This girl, we seen what happened when she tried to leave. And I was trying to tell people, like, imagine, right? Imagine you have somebody with power, influence, a media mogul, rich. This man just has reach. And you saying just leave. There's people who don't have nearly as much resources as Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, whatever you want to call him. And they are scared because if they try to leave, they're going to follow them. So imagine what he could do.
And, you know, she's only, I mean, people are saying like she's being like a hypocrite because she's on trial after she had she won her case for the 20 million. And I think she's there because they're trying to help paint the picture of the charges that are against him by using her as a segue into the kidnapping and racketeering charges that they have against him. So they're trying to show, like, if he's doing this with her, imagining the other individuals, I guess, as they bring more people up to the witness stand, what they'll say and what they'll say happened, you know, in terms of how he can manipulate a person and so on and so forth. So it's interesting to see. My heart goes out to her because I think she's like 8 months pregnant, if I'm not mistaken, on trial right now doing this. I hope she's being monitored for her health and the safety of her baby. And this is the worst time this trial could have come out. I think it's going to be about 8 weeks. The trial's going to be about 8 weeks long, they said.
Yeah.
They anticipate it to be about 8 weeks long. So by July, we're going to know.
Yeah.
We're going to know what's happening with him in this case. It's going to be...
Now, keep in mind, this is not even an abuse case, you know. This is a federal sex trafficking.
It's not a domestic violence case. It's none of that.
Linda Brooks says she was mentally abused. Not only mentally, she was physically, emotionally, everything else. Like that's a fact. That's why I can't say that she wasn't a victim. Because, I mean, it's there. We know it happened. We have to understand how abuse affects people over time. Not all abuse is black eye and bruises. It's easy.
Exactly.
Leaving is easier said than done. That's another thing we need to get some grace here. And the Breakfast Club. Well, I have a video of day one, the assessment from Lauren LaRosa of the Breakfast Club of the Diddy trial from day
And
one.
she's going to the trial every day.
Every single day.
Yeah.
It's very detailed. Now let's get into the whole peeing in the mouth by the escort. So on the stand, the prosecution did allege that Cassie is going to testify that Puff allegedly had made a male escort pee in her mouth. That is what they alleged in their opening statements. There was an escort that got on the stand as a witness. During this testimony, this escort talked about being made to pee in Cassie's mouth. But this witness says that it was Cassie who asked him to do that. And that Puff was watching, and honestly, that was stricken. Like the jurors, when he got into, like, cause he was speaking directly about Cassie and the fact that Cassie allegedly asked him to do it. And that's why he did it. And he was saying that at first he didn't know how to do it. Like he was just like peeing like he normally pees. And that Cassie, along with Puff, was basically telling him like, slow down, like don't let it all come out at one point. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're really peeing. And then that one line I just said about him saying what Puff and Cassie said to him together about that was stricken from the jurors. Like they're not even allowed to use that because his original conversation around this was Cassie asked him to do that, allegedly. And that Cassie was like the mastermind behind that. Cassie is going to testify, and that's going to happen this week. To be honest with y'all, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens tomorrow. So the prosecutor's opening statements are being picked up, but there was a witness on the stand that changed that whole story. After leaving today, I feel like when we hear the conversations about Puff's legal team and how powerful the legal team is and how good they are, until you see it in person, you don't even understand. I'm gonna do a full breakdown tonight, which will be posting to my podcast tomorrow morning, and then I'll see y'all on the Breakfast Club. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, so that portion there especially is leading people to say that she was into it. There's some text messages and stuff that came out, and like people are saying that not only is she not a victim, that she's an accomplice because she set up some of the freak offs too.
Do people understand you can be both things?
That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying.
Be a victim and an accomplice. Kidnappers use adult kidnapped victims to kidnap smaller victims. Does it change the fact that the person that was originally kidnapped is a victim? Or they're already manipulated to the point where they can control them to do their bidding or to please them or to do things like that? You know, like both things could be true. She doesn't have to be one or the other.
Yeah, and sometimes people have trouble doing that, understanding that more than one thing can be true at the same time.
Yes. There was a point that she said where he didn't want to do a freak off. He wasn't doing them. And I forget what the time period was. And she asked him, like, why are we not doing it? And he's like, he doesn't want to. She's like, but she want to do it. And he's like, if you want to do it, then you plan to arrange to have it done. And then we'll do it. But I guess whatever fear she had of why he's not doing it, maybe he's doing it with somebody else, or whatever that might be, her thought process was that made her go and initiate to have that conversation with him. And she actually planned one out. She actually planned it out because she realized that it wasn't happening. So not because she could be a victim, she could be both things. And I don't like that we only have a one-track mentality of how things can play out for a person and their experiences. It doesn't negate the fact that the other thing is true.
I see Puff legal team trying to push the bipolar narrative. I don't like that because that can diminish the importance of mental health awareness.
I don't find that they're pushing a bipolar narrative. What they've been pushing lately is that they both were doing these things on their heavy drugs. They both were doing drugs, and that Puff was more of a functional addict than she was. She was having a harder time managing and coping. He even tried to get her to do rehab a few times, and she refused to do it because I guess she didn't want to be away from him, and so on and so forth. But he realized she was having a harder time, and he stopped doing certain things to help to reduce her access to having drugs, but she, you know, once you have a taste for that, she's gonna find a way to get the fix that she needs and things like that. So again, that's the narrative. I haven't seen a bipolar push. I've seen like they've both been doing this under drugs and in induced states. They've been having these parties and whatever they may be.
And that's kind of a norm for sex fueled parties, mind you. I'm not saying that, mind you, I'm not saying that this was a normal party either. Before somebody tried to clip this, I said,
no.
I'm saying this, that's a normal thing for an orgy or something, for it to be fueled by drugs and all types of things to be going on. And again, this man has power, reach, there ain't nothing for him to set up and do.
No. And what I don't like too for the narrative that's being done in terms of him and the parties, like having a sex party is one thing, but Puff throws a lot of parties throughout the year. I find, and people are like, oh, if you went to a party, then you have to participate. And I'm like, that is not true. Like, he has a lot of legitimate parties that he throws for a lot of legitimate causes that raises funds for one thing or the other. If another party happens after that, that's a different story. But not because a person attended one of his events mean that they had to participate in one of these sex feud things. Like, that's not something you just invite any and anybody to. Like, you have to feel in a person to know, like, they're into these type of things, because you don't want a person to come there and see this happening and then they're like this, and then all your business is out because that's not their thing. You know what I mean? Like, those, to me, a person of his stature, he had to have been vetting out people to be at these things versus his regular parties that he throws throughout the year. Like, not because a person goes to a celebrity's party means that they're involved in whatever else happens beyond the initial party. Like, I don't like that narrative that we try to put out there for people.
You know who is a victim? Her husband. Because 4 days, if you imagine finding out that you think you freaking this thing off, and my wife, I'm pleasing she, and find out that she used to go 4 days at a time with multiple. But
he's aware. This is the news that he's finding out at the stand. He knew these things.
He couldn't have known the extent. He couldn't possibly have known, like how they got videos and pictures and like they talking about. Listen, this thing's so graphic. They don't even have videos. They're doing stills from videos just so the jury could get through it.
No, I'm not saying he saw the videos. I'm saying he knew the situation and the circumstance, because remember the initial lawsuit was since like last year, way before he got arrested. So he's aware of, I would say he's seen some stuff. Maybe he don't have all the details, but this can't be, you couldn't have me learning this at trial. I had to don't know.
Guess who would have disappeared? No, my stomach. I'm nauseous for you. They were doing what? You told him he ain't peeing right? I'm throwing down everything. Let me go, because I can't take this and my stomach hurts. Cassie's now husband. Another thing released, Cassie's now husband FaceTimed her while she was sleeping with Diddy, court docs revealed. So how much this man know? This trial here, right? Listen. This trial got so much stuff going on. Like, this was way after. I think he ain't even like her first boyfriend after. He's like several men after Diddy, and this still going on.
But wasn't he like the what was he? He was the, I forget what her husband did. My bad. Just went over my head.
And because of the allegations, we're gonna call them allegations because everything is settled. Because of the allegations that Cassie has been setting up freak-offs and stuff like that, and Lauren LaRosa is there every day reporting. The Breakfast Club, now, it seems like they think she's an accomplice as well.
Next question I was going to ask, could Cassie be charged? Will they charge Cassie? Because from what you're telling us, it was like
baby girl was the number 2.
No, she was number 2, and she was.
I told y'all that yesterday. Yesterday I said she was G Money and Diddy Nino Brown.
The freak offs, and she allegedly supplied some of the drugs. That's what it seems like they're saying. So could she be charged as well?
I had asked some questions about that yesterday to a source who told me that they had heard that there were some conversations about immunity, which would only make sense. But they can't 100% confirm it. But I'll have that by Monday.
I got so many questions. You gotta go.
So just that quick, we went from victim to can she be charged?
But again, like we just said, both things can be true at the same time. She's been with this man for 10 years. 10 years of her life. At some point, you think she indoctrinated in what needs to happen and how it needs to be done, and making sure that whatever he wants her to do, is being done right, and she's setting up the rooms, like, because she's not, like, she's indoctrinated in the process. Like, one thing I will say is, as a person who's been a victim of some stuff, share my story with the public as Ayo is the worst. The worst.
Ooh, they really are. People are very judgmental.
I think we just hear victim, and it's just like there's so much that goes into that grooming 10 years. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that goes into that. A lot. But everybody have social media, so everybody's certified now, So.
Exactly. Yeah. They're lawyers, they're doctors, they're psychiatrists, because you got social media and Google. Yes. So
he was a physical trainer. Thanks, Darren. He was a physical trainer.
So I don't know, it's gone so far they try and listen, everybody is mad lucky enough. The judgmental thing is what'll get me. How people will judge and judge and judge. And a lot of the time they're judging from their own experience. And can y'all even understand what it's like to be with a billionaire? Do y'all even, they're living lifestyles that a thousandaire cannot picture.
I can't picture it. He bought her houses next to where he is, 2 minutes from where the bodyguards around him is monitoring her 24/7. She couldn't leave to go without him knowing that she went anywhere. She couldn't just walk out the gate and jump in her car and drive up to go to the store. He had to know she's going to the store. What are we talking about?
Exactly.
You think that bodyguards are gonna be like, hey, she's going to the store, but they're gonna tell him that she's going somewhere. It's not
paying the bills.
Yeah.
And that's right. Even with the security guard, that short interaction between the security guard, he know who that man is. Mm-hmm. He got the video evidence. He destroyed hotel property. The security guard is in all his rights to go ahead and call the police. This woman don't tell you I want to leave, and he won't let me leave.
And they have the nerve to be like, "Oh, Puff offered you money. Don't act like you didn't. Don't act like you didn't wanted the money because you were going to destroy the evidence. You destroyed the evidence for fun because you said oh, I destroyed evidence for P Diddy because you didn't want to get paid. You being serious for real? You did that because you didn't want to get paid, but he offered you. You being serious?"
The judgment lacks empathy, which questions are we truly desensitized? You know what we need to stop doing as a people? Stop judging people because they sin differently from you. We need to stop doing that.
Because when you see me walking into Heaven's Gate, don't ask me how she came before you. Look at yourself.
You need to be worried about you, because by then it's too late anyway. When your escalator start going down, you can't. But be seeing that, mind your business. Why are we always doing that? And then the judgment lacks empathy. That's why I do not understand. When I see women, oh man, I don't get it. They say that men hate women and this, that, and the third. But a lot of the comments be women. Are your girls or not?
Because we always think that we can do better in a situation that we're watching versus experiencing. Always.
But these are situations you can't even fathom. This man could buy her a mansion just so she can't go nowhere. Your man can't even buy you a Spirit ticket to get you flew out. Why? How can you picture this lifestyle? This man could get on a yacht and live on the yacht forever if he want to. These is lifestyles you cannot picture, but you saying she should have just leave.
And how many times we've seen victims leave and go back, even if she left. Even if she left, we've seen it a million times. We all know somebody. Let's not I'm glad I know who my people is and who my people ain't, because listen,
she for the Negroes, don't mix me up. He said she ain't no girls girl. She ain't no girls girl. Hey, me saying that you always have to take their side, it just like you seen a comment, right? Right is right and wrong is wrong. How about that? Mm-hmm. I seen a comment that said Diddy should not be on trial. All he did was abuse her.
He's not on trial for that.
Listen, all he did was abuse her.
Wait, what you said? Wait, what?
You see what I'm saying?
Wait.
You see what I'm saying? A woman said online on a public platform, Diddy should not be on trial. All he did was abuse her. That's it.
So abusers shouldn't be on trial for abusing people? So, can we move on? Is there a next topic? You're stressing me out. I could see my glow fading. It's just draining out my face. Because we definitely have contact for the next couple of weeks with this trial. Next week we'll have a different story to talk about, because I'm sure once we get this week's trial out of the way, it's gonna be a different point of view.
That's why I try and tell her I had to focus on one allegation, because between Shannon Sharp, Diddy, like Chris Brown, like Tory Lanez, we got choices. Because my God, it is not a good time to be a black male rich person. I'm telling you. It's a terrible. I'm reconsidering. I might shut down saying different. So stay tuned next week, because I don't know if I want to get famous no more.
Don't tease me.
Hey, all right. Next topic. We need a palate cleanser.
I need a
palate cleanser. All right, we got several. You don't know. This is something I seen online that it annoyed me, is what it did. And I gonna need Darren to weigh in on this one. I gonna need the menses and to tap in, because we agree. Can we agree that women do majority of the domestic labor in the home? We could agree on that. Statistically, that's true, right?
Sure, true.
And that's unfair. We could agree on that too, right? Like if we should.
I can agree with you. I don't know about you. I don't know what happened in the comments. I can agree with you.
Okay, so I think that we should be sharing domestic tasks. This is not 1960 anymore. Like, women work outside the home now and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So if we could agree on that, why would this woman post this on a public platform? Y'all want a man for money. I got money. I want my man so he could put this bed up, change this light, take this washer and dryer outside so the new ones can come in, pressure wash the house, move the fridge and stove so I can clean up behind it, change my air filter, fix my car, bring the groceries in, fix the clogged toilets and sinks, man-ish like that. You want a slave. I got tired reading that day. You say you want a man. Listen, she just listed everything she want her slave to do. And so you telling me man gonna look at that and be like, woohoo! I'll take that deal. I'm so confused. Is this a good thing? Is that how you feel? You want a man for them things? Like, how does that work? Maybe she worded it wrong and she meant like she want a man to do man things, but also like help me, please.
I think I'll be on vacation next week too. I just want you to know.
Ramon said, okay, I reach. Women that day, I feel if both
I think what she's trying to convey is a lot of women are out here seeking man for their money for the man to take care of them financially. She has money, so her goal isn't to seek a man that has money to provide for her financially. Because she said, I got money. I got my money. Yeah. Right? She wants someone who can share in the things that needs to get done around their life.
Is that what she said?
She didn't say what she's going to do.
Okay.
She said the type of things, besides him being financially off, that she would like a partner to do. when things need to be done, he can support and join in. And like she said, move this fridge so she can clean behind it. That's what she said. Things like that. So she wants someone who's participating in the upkeep of their lives. Not just, she's not after him to just take care of her, but she wants them to be equally responsible in their lives.
Let me tell you something. I'd rather work 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts, and pump my butt than take that day. You hear what I'm telling you? That deal that she just laid out is horrible. I only see one man in the comments talking about, yeah, come on, that manly. You's a simpy fool if you gonna take that day. You gonna want to jump off a bridge after living with she for 2 months. Everything she listed, listen, man, that is indentured servitude with extra steps. Ramon says, women definitely do majority of the domestic chores, and we should be sharing. We should be sharing in that. You see what I'm saying? I feel if both people working, and the chores should be shared. And that's another thing. What if both people aren't working? You should come home, and then if you're paying all the bills, you shouldn't take out no trash or do none of the domestic stuff. Is that what you're saying? So what's the benefit for us being with her? She gonna clean behind the fridge when you one-handed move it. She want a man or a contractor. It seems like she want, I don't, listen. If she taking care of me and the bills, I'll do the house chores for sure. I better not mean it. I could do it. The way that she listed that there.
I think that's your problem. I think it's the things that she listed out.
Where the woman them that want man for money. They seem easier. They seem easier when she put it that way. And I know she want you to change her oil by yourself, not drop it off, I sure that's what she wants. She want you to get in there and change the air filter yourself. Because if you pay for it, you sassy.
It's not hard to change the air filter.
So why I gotta do? I watch a podcast where a man say the man's supposed to pay all bills, even if they're just dating. The Sims are contributing to these women being the Lulu. She forgot to add and sling eggplant. Here's the thing. He gonna be too tired. Or his back gonna be hurting to give you sufficient D. That's the problem right there. So Neci, you agree with her or what?
I understand what she was trying to convey. I do.
Do you? I don't. I still don't.
Yeah.
Ramon said, nah, she home with the kids all day, then the chores should still be divided. Dealing with kids all day ain't easy by any means. Kudos to you, sir. Kudos to you, because I agree with that. Like, when it comes to the chores, the household chores, we should divvy them up still. I think long gone are those days where the man just works, pays the bills, and come home and sit down and kick up his feet, and she gotta bring my slippers. Now this list though, I don't know, man. The long and short of it, all relationships should have balance.
Very much agree.
Balance? I don't know.
It's not. Is it ever really equal? I think it could be balanced, but balance doesn't mean that it's equal. You know what I mean? Like, but it should be a fluid, measurable factor in your relationship, because it's never gonna always be at the same 2 marks. It could go up and down. It could stay steady. Something could happen to me. Something could happen to you. Like, that relationships are a fluid, ever evolving situation. And I think her point was there's other things that men with money, she's trying to point out, of finding a man with money, because some men will have money and still like treat you like shit or whatever. She's gonna say a million things, but for her, that's her viewpoint on it. That she wants a person that she can share in the commingling of their existence with when it comes to getting things done. Because too many times, we, like you said, sometimes men with money will be like, what are you telling me about it for? Like, you gotta figure it out. You gotta do it. She wants someone that wants to participate in real things that happen in real life situations, in real homes.
Darren almost made it through the whole episode without bringing up Virgos. He almost made it. You almost did it, man. You were so close.
Well, he had like 10 minutes left.
Not less. You almost did that. You came close. I'll give you that.
Is this that thing that we talked about? I saw the other day where it was like where she's like, I didn't stalk his page 54 times and I did it 14. Like progress. Is it like that?
I mean, it is progress. He made it almost an hour and 45 minutes.
He almost made it full 2 hours.
Yeah, he did well. I wouldn't call it healing. It's growth. It's maturing.
I would just call it progress. I don't know if it's healthy or not.
Balance don't always mean equal. True.
Yeah.
Now, my thing about it, right? Here to be my problem. These double standards is what really bother me. Because any person, if I was to flip that status around, right, and say I don't want a woman for vag. I want a woman to cook, clean, take care of the kids, wash the clothes, stuff like that, then list it out and then ended it with, woman stuff. You think that would have got received well?
By some people, yes, but some people no. Like but that's what you like. That's what you want. That's what she wants. If you listen to me, I ain't gonna be under no man comment that says this is the kind of woman he want, and I know I ain't the kind of woman he want to be like, oh, why you want a woman to do that for you for? Why you trying to sell myself? That makes no sense. That's I not what he want. I want to be underneath there like oh, you just for what?
No, I'm with you on that. Like, usually I'd have just passed these things by like, girl, shut up. But this one was like, girl.
I mean, we're discussing it, so we're doing it for, we're doing it, right? So that makes sense. But I'm just saying, like, too, that's what she wants. She wants someone who can share in, at this point, I agree. I don't want to be pulling my fridge. I hate pulling out my fridge to have to clean behind it. If he know I gotta go clean it, if he get up in the morning, the fridge and the soap pull out, I'd be like, oh, damn, babes know I got clean behind the fridge. You don't pull it out for me to just go sweep map, get it done, whatever I need to do. And when by the time I blink it back in place, I'm for that. I get it. Absolutely 100%. And then let's say, for instance, like, maybe I'm not the car person. He's the car person. He know, like, she gonna see the light come on and she ain't gonna think nothing of it. It's been 3 months. He know the car needs to change. He changed the filter, whatever. We carry it to get fixed. I don't care if you pay someone to do it or you do it yourself. I want you to be my partner. I want us to know that we're working together to better each other's situation, our everyday experience, reducing our stress and risk or whatever. And I'm not saying that's every day because we freaking stupidity. Like, people, I gonna piss you off, you gonna piss me off. Like, it's no fantasy shit over here. But the point is that we're working together to balance out each other in a positive way. And if that's not what's working for you, then stop forcing people to do things that they ain't gonna never do. You complaining 6-7 months down the road that this man ain't doing it, he ain't gonna do it. That's a fact. And that's bars. And it's a little bit off topic, but I hope you're listening out there to what Neci just said. If somebody's values don't align with yours, do not try to debate and try to bargain with them and try to get them on your side. Just recognize their values don't align with them and let them find someone else that does. Like this 50-50 thing, can we dead that? Either they align with your values. And some people like the 50-50 that's for you.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Don't go walking in the graveyard where you're dead and you know that's not for you. Why you over there walking in the corpse and that's not, then you'll be like, ew, 50-50 over. That's not where you belong. Why you over there?
But that's what I'm saying. We could dead the conversation because it's a back and forth as to whether you should do it. If you like it, you should do it. If you don't, leave it alone. That's all.
Yeah, I don't have to jump 50-50. He gonna black eye you, and then when you see that he was
I don't like the conversation.
You're gonna be shocked.
I don't like the conversation. Yeah, Jamal, we know better. If I made that status saying I love for my woman to be barefoot and pregnant and cooking and cleaning and taking care of the children, and they was definitely be dragging me from Sunday to Sunday of next month.
Somebody will. I won't say somebody won't, but I don't think that would be the general consensus. Some women love to be home.
Girl, the women that are like that, would be drowned out by the women who would call them a pick-me and the other women that would be bashing me and calling me a massage.
They're going to be saying that to you in the comments, but they're going to be in your DM like, hey, like, I know better.
Oh, yeah?
They want that at-home life. I ain't studying.
Let me ask you this. Do y'all think feminism is contributing to these women having an unrealistic standard when it comes to relationships? I think this current wave of feminism is just, it's not that they want equality anymore. They want to trade places with the oppressor. That's an unpopular take, but that's where we are. I think it started out with, when women couldn't vote and couldn't have bank accounts and stuff like that. I think feminism was needed, it was necessary, and women wanted equality. Where we are now, it's not that. This current wave of feminism is just, I hate men and I'm going to use them. I don't think it helps us, and I definitely think it's not helping the Black community at all. It was never intended for the Black community, for real. They just needed the numbers. But what do you think?
I think that, like you said, where it started from, it's a matter of like, now that I have benefits that are equal to your benefits, I don't necessarily have to put up with the bullshit when I don't have benefits anymore. So for some men, they've matured and grown and growth, and some men feel like they can still do the same shit and it should be fine, and women shouldn't have to complain about it. But now we can't complain because I have benefits that I didn't have before that could make me have a voice to see, like, you take someone that wanted to be married to someone, a man back there with that bullshit they had to deal with. They didn't want to, but they had no choice. They couldn't divorce men. They couldn't have bank accounts. They couldn't vote. They couldn't leave. There was no single. Single wasn't like the ish to be. Like, there was none of that. You call the police and the police gonna watch your husband and be like, well, you can't leave. You have, maybe I'll take him for the night, but so he could cool down. How does that help me tomorrow when he comes back and he could still be angry tomorrow? Like, there's women have advanced in terms of having benefits that they do have. Some of us stand more hardly in our rights than others do. Some people prefer the soft life. You're always gonna have a fluid of options of what works and what won't work, and you have to decide what you want for you. That's how it is, Stop finding people that don't want what you want and forcing them to want what you want.
Ramon, I don't know if you know this, but she didn't answer your question. For me,
so sorry. So the question was, do y'all think feminism is contributing to these women having unrealistic standards? When I would say, of course, it plays a part. We can't remove it completely. Absolutely, yes, it plays a part. Is it the only thing? No, I think there's a lot that does with men as well, but it does play a part. Yes.
I think it absolutely does contribute. It's a factor in the unrealistic standards, because it's become a thing where it's like feminism now. It seems like this current wave is where the women are deciding they want to do whatever they want to do, while they also can decide what the man should do as well. Like, it's not necessarily about equality, which is where feminism started. I'm not against feminism. This current wave just isn't about equality to me. It all depends on the man and woman. Look your man. Look at man. It all depends on the man and woman. Because one time I was a stay-at-home dad at the moment until I found a job. I was cleaning, washing, cooking, and taking care of the child. But when I wanted to go out to get a break, she had a problem. Like, I'm supposed to not be inside. What? I'm supposed to be inside the house like a caged animal all day. Next caller, with some women, nothing is enough. I've done the stay-at-home dad thing, and honestly, it gets looked down on. People look down on stay-at-home dads too, in a way that obviously it doesn't transfer the other way, which I think is crazy. Because if you say that being a stay-at-home mom is a difficult job, why am I less than as a stay-at-home? You know what I'm saying? But
because it was never looked at one of the rules men would do. And like we just said, from where it started to where we are now, the point that there's a lot of changes, there's a lot of adjustments. Some people, because we're still living between the two generations of what was and what is and what's growing into. We're like the middle generation of, we know what our parents was, wear it and we're seeing what the new ones are doing, right? So we're having like a full 360 view of the entire process, where it was never okay for men to be like stay at home. It's frowned upon, it's looked down on. And women, when they weren't being good stay at home moms, it was frowned upon too. So it's like, you see how because women would be like, oh my God, look at, she didn't send him with a good lunch. Like, she's not making proper lunches for her child to go to school back then, and the clothes aren't really ironed, or, you know, that was frowned upon too. So Akilo, yeah, black next call, and let we move along. Of course, I agree. But as well, it was never looked at for him to do. Now, why would not men be good parents? Or is he not the other parent? Should he not be able to, again, balance out the relationship? If something happens, like she's working, he isn't, so he's taking that role on. That's what should happen. I don't want a man that I know something happened to and he don't want to take up some of the things I have to do so I can make sure we still functioning better. But I do understand that he needs a break. Just like some of y'all women need breaks too, and you need to give your spouses breaks with the kids. It's the same thing. It's a hard job.
Neci made a really good point too, about the...
I always do. See that?
So anyway,
you didn't
she
say
made a very good point about... let me know when you're done. Let me know when you're done.
I got fight with you. Me fight with you in a couple of weeks. You know, give me a little fighting. Go ahead.
You made a good point about it really does put things into perspective when you have said that we're an in-between generation, because we see where it's going, where it's been, and where we are now. And that kind of sums up, I think, where the confusion is with the feminist movement, because it's like they can't pick a place, they can't pick a position, which when feminism started, they knew what they wanted. They had a target, they had a goal. But now we're at a place where you have so many goals. It's like you're just creating stuff out of, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just making stuff up now. So you have all these access that you didn't have before when feminism started. And now it's like you're trying to create issues along with the issues that you still need to fight. I agree. The feminism movement was birthed to give women equality, but there was collateral damage, which was Section 8. Women only get government assistance if the man isn't present or on child support. It's all a money thing. You know, I found out that men could get Section 8 too.
Yes.
That's something
but
we just
again frowned upon.
Yeah, for sure. Long and short of it, most women only want equality when it's beneficial for them. Yeah, we equal until something heavy or something break in the house. That is my baseline issue with the current wave of feminism. You want equality until a door got get open.
I want balance.
They want bills paid. So there's a difference. You check what he's saying? But I feel you. Hey, this has been another great episode of Jah and...
It's Cruising Girl Neci back from vacation for now.
Wow. Hey, Cruising Girl Neci is back. We're glad to have her back. Hopefully she'll last till next week, Sunday, when we're back again with another episode. So, hey, tell everybody you know about A Different Day with Jah and Neci here on Seeing Difference and on 101.3's live stream. We love you guys. We appreciate you. Remember to share the live. I probably should have played the disclaimer, but it's too late now. Y'all have a good rest of your Sunday. I hope that you're ready for the week coming.
Woo!
Take some time out to stop and smell the roses. We love you guys. Peace. For now. Ramon, we start at 4. It's from 4 to 6 every Sunday, all right?